well, actually, if I hum that music, I think that's still copyrighted music. I was humming, I was starting to hum Let's Dance, I think is the name of the song. I actually don't know what the name of the song is. I'm assuming it's Let's Dance because that's the lyric from the David Bowie song, because it was playing on the second episode of the third season of, what is the word for it? Ashes to Ashes. And that's a major part of the beginning of that episode, is that song playing. And so I was starting to kind of hum it along. And then I realized that I don't know if they block stuff like that. I have no idea. So I don't know. And so I stopped. Anyway, let's see here. Where am I? Here we are. I'm just posting in the 500 places on Discord I post before I post onto Blue Sky. And then I'll be ready to go. Promote your stuff right there. Lots of these places. I do appreciate when the, what's the word for it? Sorry, I completely lost my brain for a minute. When Discords have a promotion place where you can say, promote yourself. I think it's a really neat idea. I think it's a very, very good idea to have that section that, you know, allows people to post things where they want to without making it a, what do you call it? Without it being obnoxious to some people who don't like when other people promote their stuff. So I think that's one more place. Here it is right here. And I will do that and post that. And there we are. Let me check to make sure. Hold on. What? My docs went away. Oh, I know why the docs went away. So chat. Let me bring chat up. Okay, good. I didn't. Oh, hey, Faint Waves. I am doing well. How are you? Sorry I didn't see this before now. I didn't realize that it didn't open. For some reason, OBS does not reopen the docs. Whoops, wrong one. When you select things, I don't know why it doesn't. It should know that, but it apparently does not. And why did it make the window? Well, actually, I don't know why it made the window so small. That is not a mystery. That has to do with the last time I used it. I had it in a, what do you call it? I opened the laptop and that did that. I've got to be on top of the whole trying to stop it from going to a black screen thing. I'm going to try. That's all I can do is try. All right, let me close Discord. And I just need to post to Blue Sky very quick. I guess I should post it on Twitter. Hey. Oh, sorry about that. That was very close to the mic. Hey, wow. I'm up to like 89 subscribers on our YouTube channel. That's pretty wild. I was talking to a guy on there about some movies I reviewed a little while back. Really great set of Polish films called, they're called the Apocalypse Tetralogy. Let's see. Let me see if I can remember all four films. First one is Gollum. Let's see. The second one is War of the Worlds Next Century. Then there was Obi, Oba, The End of the World, I think. And then the last one was Gaga, Glory to the Heroes. I may have reversed the last two. Absolutely worth seeing those movies if you never have, because they are fantastic. As this person who is a Polish individual said, very well known in Poland. I had never heard of these films. Bought them pretty much sight unseen. You know, I looked at the box art, looked neat. It was Vinegar Syndrome. I trust Vinegar Syndrome. And I just went ahead and I said, okay, these sound really good. And I bought them, and I cannot tell you how much I absolutely love each of those movies. I mean, they are just spectacular. Spectacular. I wish it was easier to find them. I mean, I don't even know if you can stream them anywhere outside of the... Actually, I was going to say, I don't know if you can stream anywhere. I know I got them off Vinegar Syndrome, but, you know, and I would tell people, hey, they're absolutely worth seeing. But it's very tough for me to tell anybody to buy something without being able to see it. But they are on... Sorry, the yawning thing came back. I beat it for a while. What's the word for it? Wow, James Hong is 95. That's amazing. They are on YouTube, not in the best quality you would ever be able to find them, but they are absolutely watchable. They're not terrible. So I would say, you know, by all means, go find them on YouTube. And while I know Gollum's there, I'm pretty sure War of the Worlds Next Century is as well. I just don't remember on the other ones, but yeah, those Fallout Magic cards even make me want to buy them. Ah, man, I'm really sorry. I'm really, really sorry I'm doing that. I really do hate yawning on the stream. I just can't really control it. All right, let's get to it. I've now posted everywhere there is to post. Let me move my keyboard out of the way. There it is. Reposition this. Let's grab the iPad. And okay, let's click a few times on the computer so it knows I'm here or whatever. Here, I'll click on a folder and not do anything. Jeez. So needy, this thing. All right, opening. Here we are. I will get a drink of water. Maybe that'll stop my yawning. I had coffee not that long ago either. There's just no excuse for it. Just no excuse for it. Anyway. Oh, good. The thing faded on its own. That's really nice. Okay, good. So, yep, there we are. All right, let's keep going on the ogre guy here. Mr. Ogre Guy. Because I really hope this turns out as well as I'm envisioning it. I don't know if it will, but I'm liking it so far. All right, so let's see. Where was I here? Is that the right? That is the right. No, that's not. No, is it? Yeah, I guess that is the right size. Okay. Well, let's keep going on here. I watched a really fantastic movie. I am so sorry about the yawning. I really am. I wish I could get it under control. I wish I could. Can't do it. I just can't manage it. It's bugging me. Anyway, watched a fantastic movie called American Fiction that is from, I think, late last year because it just hit digital rental, I don't know, within the last couple weeks, I think. And I'm not necessarily telling people, oh, you should go. It was a $20 rental. It's one of those new rental things, which I know is a steep asking price, but I've been waiting to see this movie for a while. I'm a big Jeffrey Wright fan. I had seen so many good reviews. I know it's got some award nominations going on, which doesn't necessarily mean anything, but I've just seen a lot of really positive stuff around it. And I thought, you know what? I've got the free time. I just want to watch this thing, and I kind of caved. Normally I don't. Normally I wait till something gets to, one of any number of streaming services. I don't know where it would have landed first. I guess it would have been on Prime because I did not know this, or maybe I had read it and forgotten about it, but I didn't realize that Amazon now owns MGM and Orion, because Orion has the old Orion Pictures, which has been around for a very long time. I thought they were dissolved, so it beats them not existing, but I didn't realize Amazon owned them now. And I do like their new logo, I will say. They have a nice logo, so I'll give them that. But yeah, Amazon owns them now. So, like I said, it's better than them not existing. Oh wait, I think I have to sneeze. Hold on. Let me. Woo! Not just once, but twice. Oh boy, that would have been loud. But yeah, Amazon owns MGM. And I guess Orion. Orion was probably owned by MGM, or it's a division of it or whatever. So probably they already were owned by MGM. So that part of it is, whatever. It's a package deal there. But yeah, I did not realize that MGM was now owned by Amazon. It's I mean, there's going to be no companies left. It's eventually just going to be, there's a joke in the show Parks and Rec in the last season about, there's something about, it's like Verizon, Chipotle, and Exxon are all merged. And the joke in the episode is it says one of America's 8 companies, and really that's where it's going to be. That seems less and less of a joke as time goes on, which, I don't know, that doesn't seem like a great thing for everybody to have everything so consolidated. We're already seeing problems with that. But anyway, let's not get into that. Let's stick with what the good thing is, which is American Fiction is an absolutely spectacular movie that I'm not going to be shutting up about for a while because I loved it. I thought it was really, really good. Better than I expect. I mean, I thought it was going to be good. As I said, I'm a Jeffrey Wright fan, so I had no doubt that he would be good in it. I haven't seen him in anything I didn't think he was good in. but I didn't expect it to be as good as and the way the movie, or the way the trailer portrays it, you expect kind of a straightforward, not straightforward, but a very a very heavy satire film, and there is plenty of satire in it, and very, 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 at times, biting satire. Also, at times, not the most subtle, which is okay. But I know some people will probably get hung up on that. That some of the criticisms or the satire itself can be a bit on the heavy side. I did not mind it. I didn't think it was. I didn't think it was to the detriment of the film. But there are definitely you will notice, if you're paying attention, you will definitely pick up on the more subtle and the less subtle aspects of the satirical elements. But like I said, it really doesn't matter. That it's funny, the stuff that really kind of lasted, the stuff I was thinking about afterwards, was not the satire at all. It was the character moments with the main character and his family, which I was really impressed with it. I again had no reason to think it would be bad. Although I was kind of curious, because it's the directorial debut of this particular director. So his first, I believe it's a he. I think it's he. The first major picture from this person. And somebody doing their first movie. Sometimes they're, I'm not saying they're always bad, but there are definitely times where the first feature is not as strong as later stuff, or doesn't leave as much of an impact. I was just listening to a podcast called Blank Check, where they were talking about John McTiernan, the director of Predator, and how his first movie is definitely not an impressive effort. It's you wouldn't think that the person who made that would then immediately get chosen to make Predator, is basically, I think, their point. And that's pretty common. Or a movie that's, again, not necessarily bad, but just doesn't have any of the power of later stuff, because sometimes they're just figuring out especially with the first features, when you're not really in charge, there's lots of stuff that you realize later that you should have done differently, like so many things in life. And so I thought, okay, this movie's probably going to be good, but it's going to probably have some weak points to it. But honestly, really nothing weak to me. Like I said, I guess you could nitpick on the satire stuff. I didn't think it was anywhere near enough to really be all that critical of. And sometimes, depending on who the audience is, sometimes your satire can't be subtle. Sometimes you have to hit with a sledgehammer. Hey, TFX Raven, how you doing? Welcome to the stream. Happy whatever day and time of day it is to you. It's currently a Thursday night, so if in fact it is a Thursday night for you, happy Thursday. Happy Thursday night. What the hell does happy Thursday night mean? I hope you're having a good evening, I guess, if it is evening. If it's morning, I hope you're having a good morning. If it's night, I hope you're having a good night. If it's, I don't know what else time zone there could be. So, I don't know where I was going with that. Well, I don't know where I was going with. Apparently, I'm going with not being able to speak English this evening. That's where I'm going with. Let's just stop being able to speak a language that by this point in my life I should have some type of command over. Yeah, let's go with that. That's a great idea. Oh boy. Yep, it's going to be an interesting stream, everybody, because you'd think I was drinking or on something, and the pretty sad part is I'm not. This is just how I am. So, caveat emptor or whatever. No, that's buyer beware. You're not buying anything. So I guess whatever phrase would apply for this. Where is this line work? Where is this line work? It's got to be a higher number. It's 50s, maybe? No, it's not the 50s. Is there one higher? 56? Oh, yep, 56. I was going to say, it's got to be one of the higher ones. I recently added it, so. Okay, so I got to figure out the skin color for this guy, because that's going to make a difference in how some of the shading works. So let's pick a nice skin color. I mean, I don't know. Green is kind of the traditional ogre color. It's the only thing I can think is that something with the wallpaper shifting is doing it, but I don't know what else would do it. Because the start after 20 minutes. Start after 20 minutes. Wait a minute. Yeah, sleep screen after 120 minutes. Well, there was no way it was 120 minutes. There's no way. Yeah, I don't know what's going on, Faint Waves. I have no idea what is going on with this thing. It's done this now, I think, every stream for the last 3 or 4. It's basically what's happening is it's kicking it to the, it's shutting off the external display. I don't know why. It makes no sense. I don't know what would be causing that because, I mean, this screensaver says start after, you know what? You know what? I'm going to test something. So, start as dynamic wallpaper. Hold on. I'm going to try something. This might crash it again. I'm at this point, I'm kind of curious about the screw. I'm going to go back to the BR backline. Here's what's going to happen. I'm going to initiate the screensaver because it's either the screensaver or it is some type of other system setting, or maybe it's the dynamic wallpaper on the Mac, which I never used to use, and I kept meaning to turn it off, and I just turned it off. But I'm going to initiate the screensaver, and I want to see what happens, because it doesn't explain. Let's see. No, I don't have hot corners enabled. Hold on, I got to enable hot corners. I mean, whatever. You know what? This is a now partially a stream and partially a tech demo, or a IT session, I guess. Hot corners. Here it is, hot corners. All right. Okay, so let's do the, well, I usually make it the upper, where is, oh, that's weird. Oh. Wow, it doesn't, that's really odd. It used to allow you to do, really? Huh, oh, there it is, there it is, there it is. Okay. Oh, quick note, oh, that's nice. All right, there it is. So let's say, start screensaver. Here it is. Okay. So here's what's going to happen. I'm going to try to initiate the screensaver. I want to see if it wrecks the thing. Let's see. Okay, there's the screensaver. Yeah. And it didn't, well, I'm going to, it didn't do what it did before. I'm going to do it again, but I'm going to leave it running for a minute. I'll just keep talking and see if this works. So here we go. All right. I've initiated the screensaver. I'm looking at, I don't know, whatever this is. This looks like, I don't know what this is. This could be, no, I don't, well, I guess it could be great. It might be vineyards in Northern California. It's hard to say. Now at this point we should, oh, it doesn't prompt for a password. Probably should. I probably should tell it to prompt for a password. I thought it would do that. Isn't there a thing that says prompt for password? I thought there would have been. That's odd. Huh. No, I guess. Really? Okay, whatever. But we're still here. It's still streaming. Okay, well, let's see. So it's not the screensaver. I thought it might be. It's not. Although I don't know why it's not prompting me. This is a wonderful stream. Hold on. I'm just curious because why isn't it prompting me for a password? Usually it does. That makes even less sense. When require password to wake computer, let's see, lock screen. Start screensaver, turn display off on battery. 10 minutes? Whoa, no. Maybe that's what it is. Turn display off on battery when inactive. 2 hours. Well, battery though. I'm not on battery. I'm power adapter. So actually, I should leave unless it's not. No, it would detect power. Yeah, no, I see the power symbol. So we'll leave that at 20 minutes. Okay, require password after screensaver begins or display is turned off. Yeah, that should have happened immediately. Oh, immediately. That's why I didn't have it immediately. Hold on. Okay, hold on. What an exciting stream where people get to listen to me as I modify my back settings in the back. All right, here we go. This is the last test, and then I'm going to get back to the stream, I promise. I haven't been doing anything in the background. All right, I'm going to initiate the screensaver now. Here we go. Screensaver's initiated. I'm looking at a very beautiful picture of planet Earth from space. Although I have to say, this is not the best image, I feel like, for them to use for a screensaver. It's the one where you can start to see the lights, but there's a lot of... oh, well, okay, I can see... All right, no, there are variations in the color. Okay, no, never mind. I've changed my mind. I never noticed the color variations. All right, so if I hit this, prompted for for a password. Hold on. All right, I'm typing sideways, so I have to do this very carefully because otherwise I won't do it correctly. Enter. And the stream is still going. So that rules out the screensaver. Okay, we are done with our testing. So I am going to chalk that up. Honestly, I don't know what else it could be, but either the power settings are acting up somehow. I mean, it doesn't happen. That's the other thing, is it doesn't happen. When we're doing the podcast, I'm using the same computer in the exact same setup. The only difference is I'm using Reflector to show you the iPad screen. That's the only difference in this setup, really. And I don't use OBS for the podcast, right? But I still have the machine running with this display on this setup for multiple hours. Our shows tend to run 2 hours, and it never does this. It never has this problem. Actually, now that I think about it, does the screensaver, does the background change? Maybe this is, I don't know. I just don't believe that this is, I don't know what it is. Sorry. I'm trying not to be overly frustrated and irritable. It just, I don't mind when things don't work. I honestly don't, if I have a reason for it. What bothers me is when things inexplicably happen. Let's see. So these layers can get combined. I gotta start combining layers because I'm going to start running out of them at some point. But yeah, I don't know what's causing that. It is bothering me a bit, as is probably kind of obvious by now, because when it happens, I can't just restart the stream up. I have to reboot the whole machine, and that's the thing that bothers me, is that if it could recover gracefully, I'd be annoyed by it. Even if it stopped the stream, I'd be like, okay, that's stupid. But the fact that I have to reboot is the thing that's just bothering me, because it's... Anyway, let's not dwell on it too much. I will attempt not to dwell on it too much. Okay, so let's go ahead and set up a color layer, and let's get our giant paint thing here. And let's start painting in some color on our ogre guy. Oh, you know what I should do? Actually, why is that still a group? I don't really think this needs to be a group anymore. Not a separate group anyway. Let's turn that off really quick. Where is this? Well, I guess it doesn't really matter. It's not that many layers. Okay, yes it is. Hold on. I mean, do these really need to be individualized anymore? Do they? I don't think they do. I think at this point I've kind of got these sketched down, right? So let's start flattening some things here. Here we are. I can get flattened down. Anyway, sorry. Appreciate you coming back, Faint Waves, because I just wish I knew what was causing it. I wish I knew, but I guess if I knew, that would make things easy. And things are not often that easy. Whoa, there we go. Okay. So yes, technical difficulties is one way to say it, although I really don't know what the difficulty is. That is the thing that really does bother me, is not knowing what is causing it. That is an annoyance to me, I must admit. Because I felt like I kind of figured it out last time. I thought it was that the machine... Because last time the machine, before I started streaming, had been on for a little while. So I thought, oh, okay. I guess I just miscalculated the time, and I should have clicked something to let the machine know I'm here. Actually, what I should have done... You know what? I'm going to do this, just in case it happens again. I'm going to click on this. It is... All right. At my time, it is 6:49. If it happens again, I will pay attention to the time, because that will at least help me. Because a lot of the... One thing about the timers on this system, they're all basically in 10-minute increments. So if something happens at, you know, I don't know, an hour or, you know, 20 minutes or 10 minutes, there are only so many timers that have those numbers. So that would at least give me some type of starting point, something to look at. Anyway, I don't remember where I was in my talking about American Fiction, but it is an absolutely, in case I get cut off again, it is an absolutely fantastic movie that I would recommend to everybody. I really loved, and the soundtrack. if you like jazz. If you don't like jazz, you won't like it. But I do like jazz, and it's a very piano-heavy jazz soundtrack, which I like. I do enjoy piano when it's... I don't know. Piano, look, it's a beautiful instrument. I have no ability to play it, but I love the sound of it in most cases. I don't necessarily go in for the... I don't know what you would call it, the Tori Amos method of playing piano, the aggressive piano playing. Not always my favorite version of it, but, you know, it's different taste for different people. But generally, I do like piano. And in jazz, I love it quite a bit. And it's a very good soundtrack. It's on, I know it's on Apple Music. I assume if it's on there, it's probably on everywhere. So I would say go listen to it. It's a beautiful soundtrack. Even if you don't watch the movie, the soundtrack's worth hearing. So it's very, very good. And I think the movie is also quite good. And I like everybody in it. It's got a great cast. I mean, there's nobody bad in it. And not only does it have a great cast, but like I said, everybody is really good in it. They gave everybody really good... Probably the only person in it that I wish there had been a little bit more of, but I understand why there wasn't, was Keith David. I thought there was going to be a little bit more of Keith David. But his role is, he's very funny in it for his role, but don't expect to see him for very long. That's all I'll say. If you're coming into this for Keith David, you might be disappointed. Even though in his role, he's very funny. It's a very funny, very satirical bit. So it's not that he's not good in it, but when I saw his name, I was expecting him to be in it a little bit more, which he is not. But you know what? Good actors, you take them in every little bit that you can. There's a little piece of hair on the screen that's bothering me. Got it. So not a complaint, just something that I was like, oh, okay, that's as much as he's in it. Okay, got it. But you know, I'll take any Keith David wherever I get it because I like him. I think he's a good actor. Like Jeffrey Wright. Keith David's in things, even if the movie itself is not great. I generally enjoy Keith David no matter what. I like actors like that. I like it when there's actors who, you know, even if the movie is less than great, you still just like seeing them. They still do good work. It's great when you have people like that. I always appreciate actors who, no matter what, are doing good work with whatever they've got. And Keith David's one of those types where if I see his name, I know I'm going to like him. And that was definitely the case in this. He had a very memorable, if short, role. And I don't say that to mean, you know, that's no commentary on whatever happens to his character. I'm just saying that he's not in its screen time very much. That makes it sound like I'm saying that, you know, you're going to see some big dramatic death scene, and I don't want to imply anything. I don't want to spoil anything for anybody. I myself don't care about spoilers, even a little bit. You cannot spoil a movie for me because I don't care. But I know not everybody has that particular mindset. So in my short review, I try to keep the short reviews, if they're for newer movies, I try to keep those spoiler free. And for American fiction, I will do that. With the older ones, I don't worry as much. I mean, if a movie's been out for 40 years, I don't know. Am I really supposed to worry about spoiling it? I don't think that's really reasonable. I still generally do. I think unless it's a really important thing to mention, you know, whether it's, in other words, if there's a major plot point that I think is something that will get people to see a movie they ordinarily wouldn't, and it's an older movie, then I'll mention it. But even in my older retro reviews, when I talk about movies from like the 80s and 70s and stuff like that, or even the 50s, 40s, depending, I generally don't spoil a lot of stuff with it. Not unless, you know, I think it's, again, important and a reason to say, hey, you should see this because of this thing that happens. I don't know if that really works. It's very possible that plot points to try to, I mean, it's kind of like with black and white movies. I just understand that there's a segment of the audience that's never going to watch a black and white movie. They just can't put together that doesn't mean it's bad. I think there is an age thing that happens. I'm not going to say that as if I'm immune to it. There are definitely movies whose, you know, I can't go... I don't think I've ever watched a movie Oh, outside of the really kind of out there arty ones like Metropolis and stuff like that. I don't watch many movies from the 20s and 30s, or something like Dr. X, where it's, you know, the movies from that time where there wasn't a movie code. I mean, there were still things that people wouldn't say and talk about. It's really kind of funny to go and look at what used to be banned. It makes you think about what people 20, 30 years from now are going to look back at the movies of today and say, really, they got all bent out of shape over that? That's nothing. You know, even television, if you watch television, or, you know, whatever television is considered now, because I know that's also a dying format. But when you watch shows as opposed to films, the acceptable language and material and stuff has changed quite a bit just in my lifetime. You know, when I was very young, there were certain words that are said all the time that were never said on television. You just didn't hear them in shows. And now nobody really cares. So it's like that with everything. I mean, the pre-code is what they call the movies, because I reviewed Dr. X a little while ago. And that one, I think one of the reasons that it was seen as controversial is because one of the characters says, do you know what it feels like? Do you know what it means to feel like God, he says. And the fact that this character mentioned God in any way, even in a very, I mean, I guess you, depending on your religious leanings, you might find that to be a sacrilegious statement. I don't know. I know different religions and different people have different tolerances for what is seen as blasphemy or not. But I don't think that most non-Orthodox religions, I think that's the right way to put it, I think most non-Orthodox or ultra-Orthodox, depending, religions wouldn't really have a problem with a character saying that, but this was at a time where you had to be careful just saying God at all, unless you were being very deferential. You really couldn't mess around with it. So it's interesting to watch those movies, because like I said, there's nothing in there that any modern audience, to watch Dr. X today, no modern audience member would ever have anything, I don't think, with it. But at the time, oh boy, it didn't get in trouble. There wasn't really a code, but it was seen as a scandalous film because a character suggested that he might be able to see things the way God might. I don't know how else you interpret that, because that's what I had read. It was that line, I think, was actually cut from certain versions of the film, where it just edits out him saying that entirely. It just cuts the scene before it gets to that, because that's the very end of the scene. If you go back and listen to that review, I actually have the clip of it in there, because I don't know if that's the clip. I don't know if that's the clip that Rob Zombie used for one of his songs, because there is a song that has that phrase in it, but I have a hunch that that's actually Rob Zombie saying that, and that's not the clip. But I wonder if that's where it came from. I wonder if that line delivery is based on, or if his, whatever that's from, I would guess was referencing Dr. X. If I had to guess, that's what I would say. So I don't know that. That's just idle speculation. But I would not be shocked at all. I don't know if this is going to be the final green that this character is going to be, but it's working for now. It's a good placeholder green. I can alter it in whatever way I want after the fact. So, well, interestingly, we've been going now for about 10 minutes. This is the 10-minute mark, so let's see. What I gotta start doing is next time I have to pay attention from when I actually start the stream. Actually, I haven't. Have I clicked the mouse since 6:49? I don't think I have. I'm not going to. I'm going to roll the dice on this one. The stream has been running for 21 minutes. So I know I clicked the mouse several times at the beginning of that, but I don't know how long it had been running before that. I don't know. I didn't pay attention, to be honest. It probably wasn't 30 minutes, though. I don't think so. I don't think it could have been 30 minutes. I don't think. There's ways to find out, but I'm not going to stop and do that. I could look at like the uptime on the machine itself. That would tell me when I rebooted, and I would be able to figure out based on when I posted on various platforms within a few minutes of when I started, but I'm not going to go that deeply forensic into it. It is what it is. So let's just see where it goes. Or it was what it was, I guess I should say, because past tense. The actual event, the rebootitude is already past. So, whoa, whoops, get back there. There we are. Okay. Hit the wrong thing. Okay, we're almost done here with, oh, well, no, we're not. We're done with that little section. I've been playing a couple of demos over on Steam, or not on Steam, on my computer from Steam, I should say. One is Pacific Drive, which has been getting a lot of press. I went ahead and purchased it, but I'm probably not going to play it again until it's in full release, because I think they need to improve their saving checkpoint stuff. It is not great. There was a point where I lost something like 46 minutes of progress because I had to go do something and I couldn't just leave the game on pause forever. And that seems like a little bit of a ridiculous amount of time to lose. So I would imagine they're going to tighten up those auto-save checkpoints, or at least add some kind of manual save capability, because I don't think there is one yet. There are some buttons that can't be remapped on the keyboard in the demo version. Actually, I think the full version's out today. Now that I think about it, I have a hunch, yeah, I think 22nd. I thought that's what it said. So actually, it's out today. But I probably will not play it today. But I also, there was a bundle with that and a game called Ultros? I think it's Ultros. I think it's Ultros, which is described, is it Ultros or Ultos? Let's see. Oh, geez, I don't know why I just... Ultros, yes. What do they describe this as? Let me take a look. I'm curious what the description of this is. Ultros is a... No, I don't need it to play the trailer. No, thanks. I'm good. Jeez. This auto-playing stuff is terrible. Ultros is a psychedelic Metroidvania where you wake up stranded on a sarcophagus, a cosmic uterus holding an ancient demonic being. Trapped in the loop of a black hole, you will have to explore the sarcophagus and meet its inhabitants to understand the part that you play. Okay, I at no point have understood that I'm in a black hole. Honestly, the story is indecipherable to me. I don't really care, to be honest. The game is so wild looking that the story is somewhat secondary to me. I really don't care if there is one, which probably to some people seems bizarre, but it's just, ooh, I like that color. I think I like that color. I think I like that color. That's better. That I can live with that. That's nice. Yeah, that's the color. Oh wow, it looks different on the... Interesting. It looks different on the computer than it does on the iPad. That's so fascinating. Huh. Yeah, it looks a lot brighter on the... Let me see if I can make it... Hold on, I'm curious about something. No? Wow, yeah, it looks... Well, okay, that's the brightness thing. Okay, that, I think, based on what I'm seeing, that's about what I'm actually seeing on my iPad, but at that intensity, which is really weird. Huh. Yeah, that's interesting. These are two Apple devices. I mean, oh, but it's on a Dell display. I wonder which one's... Well, I would defer to the iPad. I think the iPad probably has the truer colors. I'm just going to guess. I don't know that, but no, that's what we'll say. Anyway, of the two, Ultros is the one that I've been playing because its save points are very, very well populated. I'm going to play Pacific Drive. Did I say the name of it? Did I say Pacific Drive? I think I said the name. I don't remember if I did. But in any event, well, I just clicked the mouse at 26 seconds, so anyway. Oh, I thought it just shut off. I could have sworn it was about to shut off. It's just the way the... Oh, I got a call. Hold on. Anyhow, Ultros is fantastic. I really, like I said, I don't really care what the story is. It's just, it's got some really, really beautiful visuals. And it's so... I mean, psychedelic is the word for it. It seems like the... Oh, what was the guy's name? What's the guy's name who directed Mandy? Is it Panos Cosmo? Whatever his name is. The guy who directed Mandy, it's like he's directing a David Lynch story. You know what I mean? It's so warped and weird, and entrancing. The music is really interesting. The music reminded me of like Mad God, the stop motion movie. It's a wild game, and that I was like, okay, yes, this I'm into immediately, and I picked it right up, and it's really good. So I like that quite a bit. Let's see, let's get some more line work in here because there should be more lines for this. Let's see here. I mean, I don't need it to be equal weight on the lines, but there have to be more lines than there were on this side. Let's see what I did there. Yeah. Okay, let's have this come out here. That. Yeah, Ultros. Look that up if you haven't. That came out, I think, yesterday. And yeah, I was playing the demo for it. Demo's good. It's like it's a good full level or loop or whatever they call it, because there are people who are calling it a roguelite or a roguelike. I sort of see where they're coming from because there is a repeating element to it, but it's definitely not where, from what my understanding of a roguelike is, and I haven't played a lot because I have zero interest in that type of game, to be honest. But many people have said, no, that's incorrect. It's not really what this is. It just does have an element of repetition where you repeat cycles in the game and things change because your abilities change and the way the map is laid out changes, but that's not really what a true rogue-like, trying to pronounce it correctly, is. And so, and based on, again, what I know of rogue-likes and seeing videos of people playing them, does not appear to be that. But I can sort of see how if you just read what the mechanism is or you see somebody mention it, I could see where you would jump to that. But it does not appear to be that to me anyway. And I would be looking for that because that would have been not great. I mean, I shouldn't say that. I'm sure there is some roguelike that I could probably play and enjoy. I don't want to say it that way. People have told me, oh, you should play Hades. It would change your mind. Maybe it would, but I don't generally play games to have my mind changed on what I like. Sometimes it happens organically. I'll freely admit. I mean, if you had asked me, if you had played a video of Baldur's Gate 3 to me just a few years ago and said, well, I'll say like 4+ years ago and said, oh, you're going to end up really liking this game, I would be like, no, I won't. It's isometric and it's a fantasy game and I will not be playing that. And I was wrong. As I've said many times, I credit Wasteland 3 for that because Wasteland 3 really changed my mind on isometric games, modern ones. I'm still never going to be able to go back and play the old Fallout. As much as, you know what? Actually, I say that, but the other day I was thinking, maybe I should try. Maybe I should try playing Fallout, the original Fallout and Fallout 2 again. Because I never played them. I never played them because I don't like isometric games. I did try to play, I think, the first Fallout for maybe 20 minutes, and I went, oh, I can't take this. And I gave up on it. So I'm not going to rule it out with any permanence. Never say never is the phrase. I'll stick with that. But I really cannot imagine that I don't know that I could get through the first Fallout. I say that with sadness. I would love to experience the first Fallout the way a lot of people did. I just didn't when it came out. I've never really had the interest in isometric perspective type games. Just haven't. I didn't have any terrible experience with them. I mean, I played SimCity and stuff like that when it was out, so it's not like I've never played them. But for some reason, it's just never really grabbed me as a gameplay type. I don't know. And I know there are people who will say, "Oh yeah, we're gonna give it a chance." And look, I am somewhat sympathetic to that, having played Wasteland 3 and really had a good time with it. But at the same time, if I'm just being honest, I don't think I would. I don't think I would play Fallout. Love to tell you I would. I would love to. I mean, I've watched people play it. I've watched gameplay videos of it, and I can really enjoy it in that way when I'm not playing it. And, you know, I really do love the worlds that Fallout kind of led to and created. There shouldn't all be colored in like that. Kind of messed that up. So I love that Fallout exists. I definitely, having watched those gameplay videos, understand why there's a lot of people who don't like the Bethesda interpretation of the games. I have no issue with it. I think it's perfectly fine that these two different types of Fallout exist for two different audiences, or even the same people just wanting to play different types of games. I don't think it's I don't take the great personal offense to it that some people do that are Fallout fans, where they just refuse to acknowledge that anybody should or could have fun with the Bethesda games. That's maybe a bigger problem with gamers in general, though, who seem to think that anything that isn't the way they enjoy it must be wrong or bad, or that people should only be able to experience entertainment in the way that they do. I think that is absurd, selfish, and pointless, honestly. Let people enjoy the things they want to enjoy how they want to enjoy them. You know, I know a lot of people who think Titanic is a great movie. I find it unwatchable. But that's me. There are many things I like that others find unwatchable. The perennial example being Tarkovsky's Stalker, which most people can't make it through. I don't fault those people. It is a very, very slow-moving and densely philosophical film. It's not for everybody. I don't fault anybody who doesn't love it the way I do. That's what's great about media. People respond to different things in different ways, and nobody is wrong for liking something that they like. Period. That's it. And if you disagree, feel free to stop watching, because I just don't know why you would. I don't know why you would feel like you have to penalize somebody for enjoying the stuff that they enjoy. I don't understand that mindset. I'm sorry. I'm not going to be able to wrap my head around it. It's just not going to happen. So yes. Where was I going with that? Oh, something that I don't think falls in that category is American Fiction. I think most people would probably greatly enjoy American Fiction. Although, I guess I shouldn't say that. I guess if you feel like any confrontation with, I don't know, what's the word for it? Entrenched racism. If you have a problem with that in your films, then I guess you shouldn't watch it, because that is definitely a component. And if that's going to bother you, then you should seek your entertainment elsewhere. I will caveat the movie with that. If you don't like seeing things where people talk about race, then it's not the movie for you. I don't know how else to put it, because that is absolutely a major component of it. There is a huge satirical commentary on white interpretations of black stories, and there's no other way to say it but entrenched racism. I don't know how else to put it, and it's fine. Some people don't want that in their movies. They just want movies that are entertaining. I don't fault that. It's fine. It's a heavy time on the planet right now, and some people just do not want to watch anything that's going to bum them out. And you know what? I can't really blame them. Not really. Even though I think it's an absolutely fantastic movie, I do understand that mindset where there are people who are like, you know what, there's just enough stuff that's bumming me out. I'm going to stick with stuff that makes me feel good. I'm like that in a lot of ways. There's a lot of things that I just don't want to, I read certain summaries of it, and I'm like, you know what, no, I'm good. I'm not in the headspace for that at this point in time. So I get that. This, I don't think is, to be specific about it, I don't think this is really heavy. I don't think most people, unless they're really just philosophically opposed to any type of, I guess, would it be critical race theory? I don't even know what you call what this movie is covering. I have no idea. I'm not well versed enough to know. But I guess, but as far as movies that point these things out, I guess I'll say it like this. In the spectrum of movies that I have watched that point out these type of inequities and realities, this one feels fairly lightweight. Not in that it's not making good points. I think it is. But I don't think it is in a way that would put off most people who are at least open to trying to think about the way the world works. I think it's accommodating enough in the way that it presents these things that I don't think most people, again, assuming that they don't just shut their brains off to any type of criticism of this type, or examination of this type. I shouldn't even say criticism, I should say examination. I think most people would be fine with it. But, as I said, I understand that there are people who just do not want that right now. I'm not assigning any type of fault to that. I'm just acknowledging that it is a reality for some people. And this might not be the film for you then. Because it does jump into that stuff. So I'll say it. But I think it's stellar. I understand why it's reviewed so well. I understand why it's been nominated for multiple awards. I have seen some people saying it's Jeffrey Wright's best film. It's very possible. I don't generally think about actors in terms of what's their best performance. I mean, certainly you can get into actors' worst performances pretty easily. You can look at Nicolas Cage's body of work and say, well, what's the worst movie he's been in? Would it be Wicker Man? Is that the worst film? Is that the worst performance we've seen of him, or his least caring performance? It's certainly a contender. But I don't care. I still like Nicolas Cage quite a bit. I've liked him for many years. I think he is unique, well, not uniquely, but he does a very good job of kind of just reckoning with the fact that some of his stuff is, was done for a paycheck. I don't think he doesn't struggle with that or pretend that's not the case. I think he's pretty upfront about it in most instances. He's one of those people, celebrity-wise, and of course I don't know him. I don't know. But he's one of those celebrities kind of in the Keanu Reeves vein where they seem to have at least a partially... positive is the wrong word. They seem to have been able to figure out how to be celebrities without it consuming them or making them artificially nuts. I don't know if I'm necessarily explaining that properly, but that's what I mean. Is I feel like now this thing's been running for now 39 minutes with no problems. So is it just going to crash once every time at the beginning? Because it seems like it happens fairly early on. Or did it happen? I don't know if it happened later last time, but I mean, thinking about it now, it could be that the wallpaper refresh was doing something to the display. I guess that's possible. We'll see. I mean, I'll know on the next stream, or actually, if the next 3 streams it doesn't happen, I'm not going to change anything else. That will tell me, boy, that line, I don't like the way that line's intersecting with that nail. It looks wrong. So that line's got to get changed. That line has got to go. There it is. So let's put a layer above it. Let's black this out. Let's get, is it this? No, it's probably this one, but it's probably this one at, I want to say 10, maybe? Maybe it's 8. Let's see. 8, maybe? Yeah, that looks... No, actually. No, it looks alright. I think that's it. So let's go ahead and do a different variation on that line. There we go. Go here. Let's erase that right out. And that way that doesn't look funny to me. I just don't like the way it looks. And there's no point in leaving it if I don't like the way it looks. So let's take that one off. Make sure, yep, I missed some. Get rid of everything. Make sure there's nothing there. There isn't. Okay. I can pop that back on and pop it down. And we are good to continue with our darker color. So in a very long-winded summation, I would recommend American Fiction to most people. I think it's the parts that aren't the satire are really, really impressive. The parts with the main character and his family, I was not really expecting to be as impacted by those as I was. They're really well done. There are some, I'm not going to tell you there's not any sad moments in the movie. There are some striking moments where, and again, most of it not in the satire stuff. A lot of it with the character interactions where there's some kind of moments where you're, shocked is probably the wrong word, but that do take you by surprise to some extent. And those, I think, have stuck with me. I can think of a few right off the bat that were, when they happen, just whoa type of things. Because a lot of what's in this movie, the satire stuff, and I'll probably make this exact same point in both my short review and my longer one, because I think it's important to stress this. Even though some of the scenarios that are presented to us as the kind of satire elements or the commentary elements, while they're, I'm sure, exaggerated to some extent to make an impact in the film, I have no trouble believing that some version of those events happened. They were probably not as obvious and blatant and stated with such kind of amazing lack of self-awareness when they were done or when they happened. But I'm sure those things happened nonetheless. I'll give you an example. I'll give you an example without spoiling anything, because this is very early on in the film. There's a moment early on in the movie where the character Jeffrey Wright plays a writer named Thelonious Ellison, who is a writer. And he's a black writer, because Jeffrey Wright is black. That's why I'm pointing it out. And it is important to the movie. Who has been writing books for a while and is not seeing a lot of embrace of them, that they're not selling particularly well. They're not popular or being showered with awards. And he comes across another author, a black female author, who has written a book that his nickname in the movie is Monk, that Monk finds to be a very limited version of a black life story, or several stories really, but the black experience, I guess I'll say. That's a better way to say it. And he goes to a book conference, and the panel for his group of authors is very small, and it's in a very small room. And then he happens to be walking along in the conference hall, or whatever it is, maybe it's a hotel, whatever. And he sees this large ballroom where the female author is reading from her book, and it's a lot more people and much more packed area than his, in a much larger room, with a woman with a microphone who's showering this woman with praise. And this woman starts to read from her book, and what she's reading is exactly the kind of stereotypical black story that Monk doesn't want to be writing, that he finds to be a very specific and pandering version of the black experience that is, in his view, tailored to be palatable to a white audience. And you see it immediately. He has this look on his face of, oh man, and as he's hearing this thing read. And as she finishes the passage, you see him standing there. And I think this shot is in the trailer, if I remember correctly. And people start applauding, and you see it's a really interesting shot where it's kind of from the front of the room, it's looking back, he's in the back of the room. You see him, and then a white woman stands up and she's applauding madly in front of him and obscures him. And there's that kind of thing. That's kind of an example of, that is in some ways a very blunt way of making a point, but it's also clever at the same time because it's just done visually. It's a very well done visual shot that makes its point, but it doesn't make it with much subtlety. And that's what I mean about there are aspects of the film that I think are less subtle, and yet they are typically cut with these kind of clever things, whether it's the camera shot or, those things are interesting to me. And I think that's what kind of elevates, one of the many things that elevates the movie. Okay, so yeah, I guess that's what I did there. Okay, just checking. So anyway, like I said, I'm not gonna say anything else from the movie because that's a very early scene. I am 90% sure it's in the trailer, so I don't really feel like I'm giving anything away. The trailer is interesting too because modern trailers are a lot different than they used to be. there are shots in the trailer that are from the very end of the movie, which I thought was really weird. I mean, you don't know that going into the movie, but if you're paying attention, it will be. Now, I'll admit, I didn't pick up on it because I didn't watch the trailer that I saw. Must have been a cut down or a different version of the trailer because I don't remember it being as long as this one was. So I may have watched kind of an edited or a YouTubeized or whatever version of the trailer. But in any event, I didn't notice it. In watching the because I was curious about something from the trailer, so I rewatched the one that was on the IMDb page, which seems to be the full trailer or longer or whatever. Maybe the one I watched was some kind of TV edit or something. But in any event, there's a shot in it where I went, oh, if I had watched the trailer right before this movie had started, I would have picked up on something there, because they show you something that clearly gives away at least partially, not in a way that really matters, doesn't ruin the movie or anything, but they do give a little bit of something away of what the ending of the movie will be. Again, I don't think it's anything near enough to make a big difference. It wouldn't spoil, not the way some trailers that give away the whole plot. It's not like that. I don't want to make it like that. It's not that. But it's definitely something where I went, oh, okay. Again, if I'd been paying close attention and noticed that, I would have been like, oh, okay. Well, I kind of have an idea of what's going to happen a little bit later then. Not, again, very, very important to stress. I'm not saying don't go watch the trailer. It's not at all what I'm saying. I'm just saying it is interesting with modern trailers, how they're cut, because I don't feel like those shots really add anything to the trailer. That's the other bizarre part. They don't show off anything really flashy in terms of the camera or cinematography or anything like that. They're just kind of random shots, and maybe that's what it is sometimes they just have to insert random images that don't have dialogue so that they can kind of play music over it or something. I don't know. I don't cut trailers, so I can't say for sure. But I thought it was interesting that particular element was there. But again, overall, my biggest thing from this is you should see it. You should absolutely see it. It's a spectacular movie. Jeffrey Wright is fantastic in it. Everybody's fantastic in it, and I enjoyed it. I said this already, so I know I'm repeating myself a bit. I knew I wouldn't. Well, I shouldn't say I knew. I didn't expect to be disappointed by it. I just didn't think I was not really prepared to be as impressed by it as I was. And then to find out that, like I said, it was the first feature by this director, that is amazing. That individual, I don't know what the future holds, but I would say it's a pretty safe bet that person's going to get to do whatever they want as their next project based on the way this one has been received and how well it's made. I mean, look, there are directors who come out strong and then burn out really quick. So I don't want to say, oh, you're going to see this person. I'm not going to make any proclamations about the future of this person's work, because sometimes you just have one good movie in you, and that's enough. Hey, that's enough. Not everybody's going to be making great movies their whole career. But like I said, I would bet money with relative certainty that this person will get to have their choice of what their next move is. Now, what happens after that? Well, that depends on how that next move goes. That's actually, I think I had mentioned before the stream crashed about Blank Check, the podcast, and they were talking about John McTiernan. And one of the premise of that show is directors who had early hits and then were given blank checks, and sometimes those checks cash, and sometimes they don't. And that is very true. You can't ever tell. There are people who, I mean, we know these people. Every year there's, well, not as much anymore. The nature of stardom when it comes to movies has changed. But, within the last decade or so, there were people who, it's like Tom Cruise, right? Every time Tom Cruise does a Mission Impossible, that seems just like easy money. That seems like it's going to come out. It's going to do fairly well. People are going to be talking about the stunts. And there will be another one in, a year or two. And it's, until I assume Tom Cruise says, I'm done. I think he will probably be able to make those movies until he wants to stop. They've got the formula down. I haven't seen a Mission Impossible since 3, to be honest. Not for any particular reason, I don't know. I haven't watched them since 3. I keep hearing they're great. I'm sure they are. I have no idea why I haven't watched any since 3. It's not, I don't hate Tom Cruise or anything. It's just, hold on. What did I do here? What did I do here? Oh, I see what I did. I'm missing a line somewhere. Yeah, I screwed myself up a little bit there. I'll fix that though. Turn that back on. Let's see. Yeah, I screwed that up. No problem. I can fix it. Just check that line with. Oh yeah, line's gonna come down to what, 5 maybe? Yeah, 5 looks good. But yeah. So that's one of those things where you just don't. There's very little certainty around anything unless you're Tom Cruise making Mission Impossible films. In which case, you can pretty much count on being able to do what you want because those movies just keep doing well. And good for him, man. Why not? Why not? If you can get a gig like that where you can do movies that, as far as I can tell, he seems to enjoy doing, and they keep making money for you, well, that's nice work if you can get it. Very nice work if you can get it. Okay, my iPad is starting to heat up pretty good. And we're at 53 minutes. So you know what? I think I am going to call myself, or not call myself. I think I'm going to quit while I'm ahead because it hasn't crashed again, which is interesting. So maybe I've solved it this time. We'll know when there's been 3 more streams where it doesn't wreck. Then I will call it fixed. But as I generally don't even make it to an hour on a stream, not because it crashes, but because I usually don't make it to an hour, and because the iPad is definitely starting to heat up, I'm going to finish this section out, and then I'm going to call it for this evening, or for this stream, because you may be watching this, and it's not evening. Therefore, I'm not going to say it's evening for you. But yeah, American Fiction. Good flick. Good flick. So I would say go watch it. I mean, if you want to wait and don't want to pay $20 for it, I understand that. $20 rental it's not nothing. I don't do them very often, and that's what allows me to do them, or why I'm okay paying that, is because I don't do $20 rentals very often. I'm usually pretty good at just being patient, waiting until it hits streaming services of some kind. There's so many movies that's easy to do, because I'll just go watch, something like Thunder Warrior and just wait it out, and that's usually not a big deal. Wow, the iPad is definitely more. I can feel that on my finger. But American Fiction is one of those times where I don't think I've done a $20 rental where I didn't feel like it was worth it to do it. Been fortunate that way. Oh yeah, now I can see the heat. I can see the heat bloom on the iPad glass. So definitely at the end of this. Yeah, I don't think I've done one rental where I felt like, oh boy, that was a mistake. Haven't done that yet. Been lucky. I'll just attribute that to luck. I've been lucky that I have not done that yet. I'm sure the day will come, but has not come yet. Okay, we're going to stop right here because the iPad is getting awfully warm. So let's do that. And yeah, 55 minutes without a problem. So maybe I've actually figured out what's going on. I guess we'll see. But anyway, on that note, thank you for coming back, Faint Waves. Sorry about that. If I knew how to stop it, I would have. So I appreciate, and I don't blame anybody who doesn't come back, because if I was watching a stream and it wrecked that soon, then I'd probably give up on it too. So there's nothing I can do about it. In any event, thank you for stopping by, the first or second time, doesn't matter. I just realized I wanted to check and make sure I was still streaming and it didn't just stop on its own. Anyhow, thanks for coming by, and if you're in the mood, go enjoy something else creative. Creativity is really good for you. It's great. American Fiction is a fantastic movie. If you feel like watching a movie and you don't have anything else to watch, and you got $20 that you can spend on a rental, or wait till it comes out, just take a note, watch it later. And on that note, thank you for stopping by, and until the next stream, however it goes, we'll see. Fingers crossed. Until then, don't I don't have anything in between that, right? Yeah. So until the next stream, thanks for stopping by, whether it's live or later, doesn't matter to me. I just appreciate you coming by and watching in any capacity. But until the next one, take care. See you then.